that we are living in. We are living in unprecedented times, no doubt. These are not funny times for a lot of people, especially in developing countries like Nigeria and a number of African countries. All right, so I think I just want to quickly touch on a few things so that we can entertain more questions. I would have loved for it to be far more interactive, that people ask questions and all of those things. So what I would suggest we do is, while I run through a few thoughts, a few points here and there over the next 10, 15 minutes, wherever you may be joining from, try and drop your questions, whether it relates to money, whether it relates to family, or whatever it relates to. The ones I have capacity to answer, I will provide the answers. And then the ones that I cannot, our host will help us to handle it. All right, so the first thing I want us to bear in mind is there's definitely crisis all over the world, and it's an unprecedented time. It's a really difficult time for a lot of people. Many people were caught unawares. A lot of people didn't anticipate anything like this would happen. Unlike the time we had, what was it called? Unlike the 1918, which we understand from history that this particular pandemic, there was a pandemic in the world in 1918. Can we mute? Yeah.
Yes, I've muted.
Okay, good. So, so we understand that this is not the very first time this is happening. It has happened some 103 years ago, or some 102 years ago. And the same way the whole world is under a lockdown was the same way the whole world was under a lockdown. And one thing that is very crucial that we note here is that seasons like this come, seasons like this will go. So the first thing we must understand is that life runs in cycle. Life runs in cycle. There will always be peaks. There will always be valleys. There will always be seasons of, crisis, and there will always be seasons of progress and peace. It's crucial we understand that. That should give everyone a sense of hope. I told some group of people recently that I don't think I've been more optimistic than I am right now, because I've even been more productive now that there's been lockdowns. Like the windows of my inspiration just popped open. And so there's a way to look at the season. So another thing again is that every season ushers us into the next season. Every season ushers us into the next season. I know you want to ask questions about money. I know you want to hear about money, but we are living in a time when even money is beginning to fail. Because if you have money to buy certain things that you need, but you can't go out to get it, what's the usefulness of that money? So those are some of the key issues. So every season ushers us into the next season. The season of crisis, is one key season. There's what we call the world cycle. The world cycles is the concept behind seasons of famine and seasons of plenty. So once there is a season of famine, it's a signal, it's a pointer to coming attraction of another famine. And if you are in a season of famine, it is also a pointer to the fact that you will soon be ushered into a season of plenty. And so it's important we understand that in seasons like these seasons is what ensures redistribution of wealth and resources. This season is what establishes and it ensures redistribution of wealth. So there will be emerging multi-millionaires, right, all over the world. There will be innovations, there will be new concepts, new things, new products. And I'm glad you referred to the fact that the workplace will change. The workplace has changed forever. The way we do, the way we relate, the way we do work, the way we do faith, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever faith you belong to, everything has changed forever. It will never be the same again. I think I was sharing with you that early this month was supposed to be our Wealth Creation Summit here in Lagos. We're supposed to go to the UK. We're supposed to be in the UK. We're supposed to be having our UK event tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the calendar, we're supposed to be having the UK event tomorrow. And by design also, we're supposed to be in Dubai for our event in Dubai in June.
In June.
So all of that, there's so much uncertainties now that you are not sure the airline aviation industry is crippled. The hospitality industry is crippled. Nobody is going anywhere. I mean, everybody is staying back in respective homes, and nobody, no matter how much investment, no matter how much properties you have anywhere in the world, you can't even travel to anywhere. You have to stay where you are. So, but this season is going to cause redistribution of wealth. It's going to cause redistribution of resources. So, new and emerging multi-millionaires, new millionaires will emerge this season. And it is important that what we require now is positioning. We need positioning. We need positioning. All right. So let me also mention here that we need to understand this crisis. The crisis we are in is not the first, and certainly will not be the last. But a good understanding of what crisis really is would help to navigate, the murky waters that we currently are living in. So the first thing we must understand is that crisis is an event. Crisis is an event over which we have no control. Crisis is an event, a situation over which you have no control. And more often than not, you were not the cause of that problem. So now there is lockdown, for example. The employer is not the cause of the lockdown. The employee is not the cause of the lockdown, but both of them are victims of the crisis. Everybody has to stay in their respective homes. And if your work requires that you only work when you resume in the office, then automatically you have no more work to do. You automatically have no more work to do. So that is one of the key and major perils that people are having. And I just want to rush into some other things. So you are not the cause, and you also do not have control over this. And that's what is, that's what is heightening the sense of insecurity, the anxiety that people have. People are living in fear. People are, so worried and all of those things. But let me establish this. I've never seen anyone who made progress worrying. I've never seen anybody who made progress being anxious. This is not the time to worry. It's the time to relax. Now, also pay attention to the things you are listening to. Deliberately in my house, we don't listen to news. Deliberately, we are not. We don't tune on news, CNN, all those stations, Al Jazeera, because they are propagators of negative news, evil news. So you only be here, and the more of that you hear, the more your heart will be conditioned to work and operate in that manner. So, and if care is not taken, those are the things that will limit your productivity this season. It will limit your innovation. Rather than listen to such people, yesterday I signed up for industry webinars, like 4 different webinars that I signed up for. I'm listening to, what is the next direction. I'm studying, I'm researching, all right? Up until 1 a.m. yesterday, I was still online listening to experts in respective fields who are giving, statistics, who are predicting what's the next thing that will be happening, right? That is what you should be listening to. People who are crafting solutions and giving, and for those of you who are listening to us right now, this is the kind of things you should be listening to. Otherwise, you will work and operate in fear, and there's no way. Fear and wealth don't work together. Fear and wealth don't work together. In crisis, one thing you can control. You may not be able to control what life throws at you, but one thing you can control is you can control your interpretation. You can control your response to the situations on ground. You cannot control what life throws at you, but you can determine how you respond. And that's one thing you have control over. So what do I have control over? I can decide not to put on the TV, to listen to all those negative news. I can decide once I see any, because a lot of people are even propagating fake news. There are a number of people who are leveraging the anxiety in town and using that to heighten fears in people's hearts. And rather than spread hope, spread faith, they're spreading fear. So so that's what I have control over. And I also have control over what I'm speaking right now. I have control over what I'm absorbing into myself. So that's what you can control. And that's very, very important. But another very critical thing we need to understand, especially in times like these, is the fact that crisis has always been a source of development and growth. Every time you've seen development, it has been as a result, it has been a response to crisis. Every innovation, every new product, every new concept has always been a response to crisis. So, and this is not going to be the last. So rather than express fear, why not be thinking of how do we solve this problem? And that's how you come up with new solutions. And like I was sharing with my children this morning, I said to them, I said, if you add value to yourself, you'll be able to give value to other people. And when you give value to other people, they will give you money in return. I said, so if you want money to come to you, then make sure you are adding value to them. But if you are not adding value to yourself, right, it will be difficult to offer value. Money always flows in direction of value and trust. Money always flows in the direction of value and trust. The more valuable you are, to the market, the more money flows to you. The more trustworthy you are in the market, even in seasons like this, I was sharing with you that even our company, one of our partners, made 25 million naira in this season. It was in this season. And that's even the highest income somebody has ever made working with us. 25 million naira inside the season. Now, the only way you can generate such revenue and make such income is by offering value. And it's not value that is value that is exceptional, value that is unequal. That's how money flows. There's what we call the velocity of money. Now, the velocity of money is the speed, the rate of speed at which money flows to or away from some people. So there are people that money is flowing away from because they are consumers. There are people money is flowing to because they are producers. And it's the same thing, right? So this is very crucial. So do not exhibit fear. I really wish I can go on and on some of these thoughts that I have here, but it's good that we also establish how people should respond in this season. Let me see if I can touch on a few things. Number one is that in the seasons that we are in, there's what to stop doing. There is what to start doing. There is what to continue to do. There is what to stop doing. There is what to start doing. And there is what to continue to do. One of my greatest joy is this. Anytime there are crises, anytime there's a challenge, rather than look for who to blame, ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Where did I miss it? This is the time to start to ask yourself, what must I stop doing, right? What must I start doing? And then what is it that I must continue to do? So it's not everything you've been doing that is not right. So the things you've been doing that has brought you some degree of progress, continue to do them. But if you notice anything that you have been doing that is inhibiting progress, for example, a number of people know they're supposed to save. We've been sharing savings, investment, we've been sharing people. No. So the lack of preparation with regard to savings, I was telling somebody, I said, sorry, I'm not, everything I'm doing now, is the post-COVID, right? We prepared, not even because we knew that there was going to be a lockdown, right? So, and I'm not taking pride in this, but I'm saying this to say that this is time to start to form new habits of what is it I must start doing. If you are not saving before, this is the time to now open your eyes and open your mind to say, sorry, I think I wasn't saving before. List out the lessons you are learning that you did not embrace all along. List them out and start itemize the things you will start doing. Then what are the things you will stop doing, the things that will inhibit growth and progress. So those are very, very key things. Having established that, how do you survive the seasons that we are in? How do you survive and thrive in seasons like this? The first thing is plan. Sit down with your family. If you are married, sit down with your spouse and plan. Plan now and not after the pandemic. the pandemic will certainly subside. You were sharing with me, Mr. Korede, you were sharing with me how that,
Yes.
you know, many of the things are going to, the government is beginning to see how they can, you know, unlock so that the economy can, because if there's no production, there's no more economy.
Yes.
If people are not producing, then the economy is fully under lockdown, because now the health crisis is gradually resulting in a global recession.
Mm.
And that is even becoming a greater sickness than anything else. So so that's critical. Plan now, sit down, retreat. This is a season for you to retreat. This is a season for you to reflect and re-strategize what you've been doing. Number two is foster collaborations. I was sharing with you earlier that we are now in what we call the sharing economy. This is not the time to go on the journey alone. It's time to foster collaboration. You've got some strength, other people have got some strength. If you can identify them, they can leverage your strength, you can leverage their strength, and both your weaknesses would disappear. So this is the time to foster collaboration. This is the time to begin to identify people who share your values. This is the time to begin to identify people around and in different sectors. Because what has happened now is that I really wish I can talk more, but I know we have very limited time.
Continue, sir. You are giving us no, so please continue.
Okay, so so this is the season where if you pay attention, I don't know, it doesn't matter the industry which you currently play, but there are industries that are recession-proof zones. So, for example, the food industry or agro-allied businesses, you may not be a farmer, but you can partner, you can collaborate with people in that sector. I play in the real estate space, and the real estate space where I play is also an essential. If you study the Maslow hierarchy of needs, you will discover that at the base of that pyramid are essential needs, as you know, physiological needs, water, air, you know, food, you know, shelter. Those are clothing. Those are basic needs. Those are basic needs of man. Now, if you in COVID and post-COVID, one of the key things that people need to begin to pay attention to, especially with regards to collaboration, is to see how can I collaborate with people who are already offering essential services. Now, we're also living in a time and season where internet is essential. Internet is essential. So internet data is now oxygen. Data is now life. So if you do not want to be obliterated, you know, or virtually ostracized, then you need to be online, right? And that's the only reason why we can connect. You are in UAE, you are 3 hours ahead of us, and we can connect this way. Number two is power. Now, in Nigeria, I'm speaking from the Nigeria angle now. In Nigeria, power is a big issue, so we generate our power by ourselves. All right. So, what is the key point I want to bring out here is that if you are not a professional in these respective fields, this is the time to start fostering collaboration with people who, individuals, organizations who play in those essential recession-proof zones, right? All right. So that's one. Number three is that lower your expenses. Lower your expenses. You do not need any encouragement. You don't need any counseling. You don't need any advice on lowering your expenses. Like I said to people, if in crisis you find it difficult to lower your expenses, I don't know what else will teach you, what else will guide you, right? This is very, very important. So even as a business, even as a company, as an individual, as a family, maximum number of times I eat a day is twice. You must not grow fatter. You can't afford to grow fatter in this season. This is not the season to be eating anytime, because again, let me say something here. I'm going to get into that very shortly, because one of the things that is happening right now, like I shared with you when we had our brief meeting, is that the season that we are in has compelled people to start developing new appetites, new habits, new expectations. So post-COVID, a lot of people will be coming out with new expectations. So customer behaviors will change. So if you're a business person, you will not be responding the way pre-COVID. You won't be offering products and services the way you were doing pre-COVID. If you are the kind of person that runs seminars and run programs and you do consulting, your platform has changed. You need to migrate online. Things have changed forever. the way we connect, the way we do business, the way we relate has changed. The way we work has changed forever. I was telling you, I
Yes.
find myself a very productive person. I'm extremely a productive person when I'm alone. So I have my deliverables. I have what I need to achieve for a day, and I pursue it vigorously. Many of our meetings, management meetings, call board meetings, have been going on online. And I said, wow, I've spent a lot of this time in traffic. I've spent the significant amount of this time in traffic, monitoring what is going on and all of those things. I'm looking at this, I will be spending less time going to the office, right? And there are only a few people who have core role to play in the office will be in the office, right? So the key thing again for me is foster collaboration, then lower your expenses. Nobody needs to advise you on that. And this is a recommendation for married people, because a lot of tension is also playing out in many marriages now, especially for those who did not really prepare. And so there's so much pressure. Husband is screaming, wife is mounting pressure and placing demand, and the husband is just as the woman, they are both locked down. So there's so much tension. This is the time to ask yourself honest questions, because this is the truth. I don't know why I'm going into that direction, but I think it's crucial I mentioned this. It is time to begin to review. This is the opportunity, because crisis come to test your relationship. Crisis come to test your relationship. Adversity is the truest test of love. So this is the time to stay together and not to go apart. I understand that there's been serious, massive hike in divorce rates in China as a result of this COVID. So a lot of people who are married are not really, they don't even know each other, because they've spent much of their times apart, much of their life apart. Now that they are locked down and they have to be seeing each other every day, they are bored, they are tired of seeing each other. And it's creating a lot of, so divorce rate has hiked, nearly 200 people. And then they've even had to put a law to divorce rate in China. So, and the same thing is going on all over the world. So so much pressure. So it's time to lower your expenses. And again, depending on your degree of preparation before the COVID, before this lockdown, that will determine whether you should establish a liquidity pot. So when I mean liquidity pot, I mean cash, your cash reserve. You need to have cash reserve. There is an amount of money you must not spend. See, you have to just keep it. Why? Because that's what will ensure you are able to take advantage of opportunities. That's so crucial this season. So it is your liquidity that will enable you to harness money-making opportunities. So there are, let me say this. Let me just say this and let me wrap up here, because there are still many more points, and I really don't think I have the time to go into that. In this season, what we've seen over time is that there has been panic buying. A lot of panic buying this season. There are also panic sales, because now if you own a house, for example, right, but you cannot feed, won't you be prepared to sell off the house so that you can get money to feed?
That's true. That's true.
So there will be a lot of distress sales, right? There will be a lot of there's been a lot of panic buying. So people are buying food, buying things they do not even need now, buying things that will even perish. So what I recommend is reserve money, cash. Don't be in a hurry. Don't relax. Cash reserve is very key now. So it's not the time to just do anything because you are in a hurry. Don't do anything in a hurry. Pay attention, reflect, consult, brainstorm, exercise your, pick the brains of people around you. That's the best way to do it, so that you will know exactly what direct. This time is not the time where you can afford to throw money anywhere and regret later. So this is very, very important. I think I should just rest my case there. If there are any questions, we can take it up from there.
Wow, it's been in depth. Every point has been powerful. And I know everyone watching can relate with this. I mean, you've said things that are so much true that we don't pay cognizance to. I mean, like what you said the last time, that you talk about divorce, and it's real. I was reading on the news here yesterday that the courts in this part of country experience higher rate of divorce intents, like
Wow.
more
Even
than
even in UAE.
in UAE. Yeah, they receive higher rate
Wow.
of divorce intents, more than what they've ever received. I mean, in the first quarter of last year, in just these
Wow.
few months. Even
Wow.
reactions of parents too.
Mm.
What they call the child abuse, molestation has
Mm.
increased.
Mm.
So because
Wow.
people are just there's a lot of reactions. Everyone is
Mm.
just reacting here and there on diverse things. I mean, we're going to be talking about that. I mean, how to manage that because, like I said, most of the things that are costing this thing is money. The
Mm.
wife is asking money because the man wants to eat. Before we go out in the morning and come back in the evening, the man sort himself in the office and try to just
Yeah.
arrange something. But now you have to drop in the morning, you have to drop in the afternoon. The child wants to take bobo, and then all these reactions is
Yeah.
there. So maybe before
Yeah.
we wrap up, I want you to, because that is the money we are talking about. It's not
Mm.
just okay starting. That is what we are trying to build around ourselves and establish. So I just want to ask questions now. This is the time for questions. Anyone that has questions, you can start sending your question now. You can for people on Zoom here, you can see the chat. Just drop your question. We will see it there. For people watching on other platforms, just put the comments for your question. We will get it there. Then we can ask ourselves. But I just want to talk about innovation. 2 days ago, I was doing a course from
Okay.
Lincoln University about creativity in workplace, and
Okay.
talked about innovation and creativity.
Yeah.
But okay, people with innovation are people that have open mind. But people with
Yeah.
creativity are people that have fixed mind. And people are just like, okay, we've been like in the Yoruba. I'm going to say it in my language. I'm going to try and tell people, okay, beautiful, that's it, Koshe, Umbeni
Mm.
Sisi. So this is how we've been doing it. I will tell you, we
Yeah.
can, things has to change.
Mm. Yeah.
Things has changed already. And you
It
need
has
to
changed.
go on with the
Changed
thing.
forever. Yeah.
Our last week's speaker, Mrs. Asman, she was saying it that look, you need to develop yourself in every areas now. She
Yeah.
said she's
Yeah.
trying to know all things, not just this is what is happening. No, you need to
Yeah.
know everything. Now, I want you to talk about innovation.
Okay.
Now, because so many people know so many things, so many people are doing so many things, they need to innovate. For example, you are into baking, for example, you are into tailoring. How do you
Okay.
innovate? Because innovation is the key. So I want you to talk about innovation as we go into this.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much. And because I'm also into business and I'm an entrepreneur, one of the key characteristics of entrepreneurs is innovation. So you have to constantly innovate. You have to, in order to keep up, with the pace. You are not the only player in your industry, so you have to constantly, up your game. Now, the rule of innovation is asking the following questions. The rules of innovating or innovation is asking these questions. How can I make it better? Right?
Mm,
How can I make it better? How can I make it faster?
mm,
How can I make it cheaper?
mm,
Right? One of the rules for me is that when I'm to retire to bed, right, at night, and there is a key thing that I know we need to introduce a change,
mm,
I ask those questions. How can we make this better?
mm,
How can we make it faster? Why?
mm,
Because we live in an age and time where people are busy, crazy, and lazy. So if you must be able to reach them or reach their purse or purses or bank account, you have to offer superior value,
mm,
right? There must be a reason somebody will be willing to buy from you than buy from someone else.
mm,
And that is what calls for innovation,
mm.
right? For
Yeah.
example, I was talking to you earlier. This has already been happening in India. A
Yes.
lot of Indians have been taking the jobs of Americans, a lot of Americans,
Mm,
right? Because they were willing to charge their labor cost was lower,
mm,
right? So, and they were delivering within the timelines, right? So as a result, majority, and for your information, according to a research that I gathered,
mm,
that in India has a population of well over 1 billion people. And in India, every year they require at least 100 million jobs. So to meet that demand, that job demand, that labor demand, they have to begin to look outside of their home countries, right? And a lot of people, even in Nigeria, we hire Indians abroad who do jobs for us. And so remote operation has been working. Now that we are going to be more remotely conditioned in the workplace, right? HR managers need to innovate how they do their work. So it means that you can now be HR manager for several companies at the same time. You can be a finance person for several companies and take pay cuts and take other pays in many other places and still be delivering value. It just means that you now have time when you dedicate to this, you have time when you dedicate that you allocate to this, and you have time to allocate to this. So that's what it calls for. So how can I do it better? How can I increase my income? How can I, more or less like say, how can I franchise my skill? How can I distribute my skill to multi industries and let them know that you don't need to pay me what you would have paid an HR, but I will only be showing up if by the time the lockdown is off, I will only be showing up once a week, but I will do much of my work remotely. If you need any policy, you need any this, you need that, I will be providing it for you. I mean, you'll still be making money. Do you know that today now a lot of banks in Nigeria, right, and several other countries around the world, their contact centers is not even in Nigeria.
Yes.
The call centers is not in Nigeria.
Yes.
It's not in Nigeria. So those are the things that innovation has brought. I was in a course yesterday, and the person shared a link that you can use to set up your own software development company. And says that you don't need to be hiring developers here and there and all of that. So if you're a graphic designer, you have to rethink, you have to innovate because your job is at risk. There are platforms now where all you just need to send to those platforms is to send the content, and they come up with variants, 2 or 3 variants, and then you pay specifically for that design. So if you're a developer now, the marketplace is now highly competitive. So because there are a lot of people who are willing to do it more exceptionally, and they are willing to do it at a cheaper rate. So why should they engage? So you need to be innovative and just ask those questions. Most times, ask those questions before you retire to bed. When you wake up, those are the same first things that will come alive in your heart, and then it will begin to produce results.
Okay, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for that answer. That you see, you need to tap into your mind to innovate. You need to see opportunities around it, and this is what you've even tried to share with us. That okay, even in your personal businesses, you've tried to create things. You understand?
Absolutely.
To make things work well, even for you. You talk about so many meetings. I know so many people into properties now that we are not selling anything. You understand? Even in my place of work, I have seen the way innovations has take place now. Way things has been able to, okay, everybody, you can't, even people working from home, you can't say I'm sleeping. No, innovation has put every one of us on our feet. And so for you to scale out in this new world that we are going, you need to innovate. Okay, I am selling, I am into creative industry. What do I need to do to reach out to my customers there? How do I need people to do what? To get involved in what I'm doing? And that's very, very important. So I'm going to be asking another question. Our viewers, everybody watching, everybody learning here, this is an opportunity for you to ask questions. I mean, it's an open ground for you to ask any questions that might be either in finance, either in career development, either in how to make more money. You understand how to create multiple streams of income for yourself. So whatever it is that you need questions on, either on your business, either on your career growth, your finances, whatever. This is the time to ask, because our speaker here, it's a facet person. It's not just about just finance. He's been able to grow business. You understand? I like I was telling him before the session. I said, look, there's something he said the first time I met him in a conference, and I can never forget that word. That see, I have seen money, I have lost money, and I have seen money again. And you know, it's not just somebody talking theory. You understand? It's what you've seen.
Yes,
You understand? So that's very, very important to talk about. So, sir, I want you to talk about value.
Okay.
Now I want to just that's why I minimize. I want to Google it.
I know. I saw.
Sorry,
Can
you please mute this person who is speaking there?
I've muted him. I've muted him.
Okay. Thank you.
So I want you to talk about value. Value. How do you generate value? One for yourself and one for people. Because when we talk about generating value, it's something very, so many people have generated value, but they fail to communicate it out. Now, before you ask that question, I want you to, I used to say, we've been told about profits and impact, income and impact. Let me use that word, income and impact. We've been told that you need to make a lot of impact. People need to know you before you start making income. But the true question is, so many of us are hung up in that. We don't know where to move from that impact to income. That is why you've been doing something for free and you suddenly charge. And people say, what is it now? Is it not my sister brother? It's now charging. I want you to break that word impact and income. How do you navigate value?
Okay, so value. So I'm glad you referred to that. A couple of weeks ago, a protege of mine asked me the question, and he was asking me a lot of questions, but he got to that point and said, okay, so sir, if you were to start business again, what is it that you will do differently? If I were to start again, what will I do differently? And I said, I will draw a healthy balance between, between people and profit. I'm a people-oriented person. I love people. My heart is just for people. And more often than not, I've taken a lot of decisions, at my own expense, at the expense of the organizations various organizations I even run, just because of people. But I realized that there's a part of profits that will keep the organizations going, and that will ensure that you are able to take responsibility for the people you truly and genuinely care about. So, and they will only remain there as long as the organizations continue to generate profit. So I realized that I have to draw a healthy balance. So that also brings me back to what you were saying. Value, the first thing we need to know is that value is not what you call it, is what the recipient call it. So that's why you cannot take any product into the market in COVID and post-COVID without, gathering sufficient data, conducting surveys to identify, because I must tell you honestly, consumer behavior has changed forever. Consumer behavior has changed forever. So if you want to launch a product, you want to create what you consider to be a value, it may be value pre-COVID, but post-COVID, it may no longer be value to them, right? So if you think that by, hosting a mega event, we used to host events a lot. We just recently had one in Port Harcourt. We're supposed to have another one in Lagos. But if you think you will be running that way again, I'm telling you, you'll be disappointed. So value, you must understand what your recipients consider as value. But my general understanding of value is that it must save people money, it must make people money, it must save them time, it must save them stress. That is general. But in order to be more specific, you need to carry out a survey. I hope that helps.
Yes, it really helps. I mean, I mean, you said something that is so very, very key here. You said value is not what you call it. Value
Yeah,
is what people call it. So you don't
absolutely.
uh, analyze value uh, by yourself. It's what
Absolutely.
people gain from you
Yeah,
that you can call value. So
yeah.
before I go to the next question, somebody is asking that, okay, I'm not working. How do I save?
So you make money by working, right? You manage money by budgeting,
Mm,
right? And you multiply money by investing. So
mm,
the starting point is working. So if you are not doing anything, you are not even qualified to be in life. I'm
mm,
sorry to say it may sound very, very harsh, but that's actually what moves people like us to action in the
mm,
past. So if you are not working, you don't even qualify to even be, you are supposed to look for something to do.
mm,
And the interesting thing, everybody now, the marketplace has changed from the the shopping mall. It
mm,
has switched. The marketplace has now switched to the internet.
mm.
So, and anybody can have opportunity to play in there. So what is it that you are good at? So that we can start with where you are.
Exactly.
What is it that you are good at?
Exactly.
What is it that you find that is natural to you? What do people commend about you? I wrote a book a couple of years ago titled Finding What Works for You. You can go on my website, oladipoclement.com, to see if you can get that book. Amazing book that has helped a lot of people. I've gotten more comments and a lot of calls on that book. And why I'm saying this is because in that book, I shared how you can discover and profit with your talents and skills. And I documented 75 ways you can make money with little or no money in that book. So you cannot sit down. You were not sent here on earth as a liability. You were sent here on earth as an asset. So wherever you are, certainly you will not be able to save when you are not making money. I mean, if you are not making money, how can you save? That is obvious. The first thing we need to resolve for you is pre-COVID. That means that's the reason why you did not have money, and then there's no way you could have been preparing for the COVID lockdown.
So thank you so much, sir, for nailing that. I mean, we've seen, like I said before we start, that look, lockdown, there is lockdown before lockdown. And if care is not taken, there will be lockdown after lockdown.
After lockdown, yeah.
So the question you need to ask yourself is, okay, what can I do? How can I generate value? And that is very, very important, especially for viewers that is watching in the UAE. You see, if we can generate value in abroad, to say, let me use the word abroad. I mean, for a Nigerian or African that is here, how do you go home and how do you generate that value in Nigeria? I was in a program one day, and it was in my church service, and the lady said she started a business of selling rice. And you are wondering, rice, there is no, for you to sell here, you need malls, you need fast food, and that's where people sell. But she looked at the opportunity and she started selling to people that live in the same villa, because we call our buildings villa in some areas, in the same tower where they are. And she starts selling. Is it rice? Or no, I think it is moi moi. It is moi moi she started with, and then she graduated to rice in the same place. So guys that cannot eat, that cannot cook, they will come and buy rice. They will come, sister, can you sell moi moi for us? And she said it in that testimony she was sharing, that, okay, she was able to do the next visa, gather money for her next visa. She was able to gather money for her house rent. She does not have it. So it's all about you looking into yourself and saying, okay, what can I do to generate value? You understand? If we can generate it here, we can generate it anywhere. We are waiting for one times 1 million money. We can't generate it anyway. So you said it all. That look into yourself. And I'm going to come there because I know Life Page are doing so many great things in that area. I know Life Page have been able to create opportunity for even people that are not doing anything to be part of the business so that you can make money for yourself. You understand? Today, by privilege, I'm part of Life Page, representing Life Page in the UAE here. So but I begin to think, okay, fine, we can't wait for now you've opened it that we cannot wait and say, okay, we want to organize this conference in something. No, why don't we? It's online now. We need to start something. We need to kick up something. So for such person, you are going to be talking about something like that, about investment, about business processes that they can get involved now, even where they are abroad, and generate income for themselves. So you are coming there. So I want you to talk about family.
Okay.
Family this time. I tell you that everyone can Google it, the rate of divorce everywhere.
Yeah.
UAE record that the paper of divorce submitted now has increased. But they are trying to set up courts. And let's start listening to these people. And what they're telling them, okay, you go home first. We will talk. Everybody's scared. So I want you to talk about managing your family finances this time. How do you cope with that?
Okay. So what the reason there's a lot of tension, economic tension in homes, is if the husband is the one working and wife is not working, there will be some degree of pressure. If the wife is the one generating money, husband is not doing anything, there will be a degree of pressure. And it can be worse if both of them are doing nothing. So the starting point would be what I said earlier about identifying what are the needs around you. I share a story with you. There was a young woman a couple of years ago. I was in a business meeting hosted by our bank, one of our banks. And this young woman happened to be living in the outskirts of Lagos. And she noticed, of course, she was a nursing mother at the time, and she noticed that each time she needed to get diaper for a little child, she would need to travel miles away from where she was living to get it. After going on that journey for a couple of times, she realized that she was not the only nursing mother within the neighborhood, and thought within herself, how can I bring the market in Yaba, market from Oshodi, market from Ibute Meta, and bring it to this neighborhood so that people won't travel that far any longer. And that was what gave birth to a new brand, and she made serious money. So by identifying the needs that you have, if you look closely, you would realize that there are a number of people within your neighborhood. If you can conquer, which is one of the major enemies of progress. And some people are too proud. That's the problem. It's one of the number one universal cause of poverty. Apart from ignorance, laziness, pride is another one. Pride has robbed a lot of people the opportunity to make money. They feel they are too big. Listen, if you need money, if you can offer the value, I'm telling you the truth, money will come back to you if you are not proud. And the people who pay for it may not be the people that you think. Now, there's a business model canvas that I may be willing to share with you maybe later on, and then we can share with all the people who register.
Yes.
All the people who register on your platform, we can share with them. Now, for those families who are locked down right now and economically impacted by this lockdown, one of the things you need to do is, you need to settle your scores. You are not competitors in your marriage. You are supposed to be working, define a vision. Why did you people even get married in the first place? And then let that vision that you people set for the family drive your commitment. Now, even in the workplace, we say it all of the time. It's not equal talent that wins. It's equal commitment. So we don't need equal talent. It's equal commitment. It is dream team that makes a dream come true. So it takes a team for a dream to come true. And that's very crucial. The same thing applies to the home. So husband, stop seeing your wife as a rival. Wife, stop seeing your husband as a rival. You are supposed to be working towards, you both have children. So make those ones your dream and make these children your common commitment, your common where you are putting your attention. And if this is important to you, if this is a common, if it is of common importance to both of you, then what you need to do, start to look at the needs you have and start, checking around you to see. Because let me also say this, there are people who are not in lockdown right now.
Yes.
Even in Nigeria, because they offer and render essential services. So they are allowed to go around. They are allowed to move around, right? So that's why I mentioned that earlier when I was sharing that foster collaboration. This is the time for husband. Let you people look into yourself. There's no reason. Let me tell you something. Have you noticed that it is the reason you got married to your spouse most times that causes your fight? Your difference was what brought both of you together. Your difference is also what usually causes the problem. So why not put your differences aside and focus on the common ground? Find the common ground. We need money in this home. Sorry, I know I'm not happy with you. I know that you talked to me anyhow. I know you didn't like, you said something I didn't like. I know you are not providing the money, but see, how do we come out of this? Talking about your problem does not solve the problem. It's talking about the solution, the way out. That is the solution. And we may be able to engage one or two people, especially with regards to, I may also be able to share with you another form that more or less like a test. Because as a wealth creation and retention coach, part of the things I do is to do a diagnosis of people's finance, right? And then because we cannot begin to offer prognosis without diagnosis.
Yes.
So to be able to provide accurate solutions, we need to identify what the real problem is. So it will vary from person to person, but both husband and wife need to come together now, even if you have money, because some of the people who are even having challenges in their homes are people who even have money, they have resources. They have resources. So that means the issue in the marriage is deeper than an economic issue, right? So that's what I think. So we may be able to share some of those things, and then people can work with it. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much for that. Okay. For everyone that is interested in the business canvas on how that can help you, you can send your email address, and for anyone that's also interested in the financial family the diagnosis that he talked about, you can share out your email address, and we'll find out to get that to you. Like I said, we are just here to grow together. We are here to look at those little things that is affecting our growth. And for me, the purpose of life is all-round growth. You understand? That's it. And like I used to call something 5 alive. You must be alive in 5 ways in life. Number 1, your faith. Number 2, your family. Number 3, your finance. Number 4, your fitness and your flourishing. You see, most times that is why people have issues. Most people are good in faith. Oh, church people, mosque people, you can pray very well. But finance, yeah, something is happening. Oh, family, something is happening. And that is how I work my life for over 5 years now. I look at those areas, and at the end of every year, I know that, okay, fine. At a point in my life, I know, before I got married, I know that, come on, young man, family is not doing fine. No, you need to set your head. This one that you are forming power, that you don't want to get married. You need to have it. And even till now, and look at each area. I was doing my diagnosis, and I mean, before this pandemic, I begin to look at finance. Young man, something is this. So we need to sit down, like you said, reassess yourself. You see, nobody can reassess you like yourself. That is what he just talked about, that retreat. Sit down with yourself. Talk to yourself. Oh boy, what is happening to me? You understand? For us to move on. So somebody said we should talk about, I mentioned impact and income. So how do I move from, he said I mentioned, how do I move from that impact I've been giving free to income?
Okay.
And secondly, let me just add to, because of time. Secondly, how do I collaborate? I'm a fashion designer. How do I collaborate with people to bring my business up? So the two questions.
Okay, so let me talk with the impact and income. Now, impact certainly comes before income, And then until people know that you are offering impact, until people know you are offering value, they may not even be prepared to exchange money for it. So you need to give it free. We call it freemium. So it's a concept in the marketplace. And then in doing that, so one other thing you could do is you can offer it free and then add something to sell. So for example, if I have written a book and I have 10 points, right, that will impact people, I know I carry impact. I know I carry value. If I share out of those 10, I share 3, and I say the remaining 7 is in the book, go and buy the book. I will make money. I don't know if you are getting my point. So that's one way. The other way is if you have impact. In some cases, it's not even you that is even giving the impact, but you own the platform and you bring people who are giving the impact, and you let them know that everything that they sell, that you will get your own commission. So that is how to generate income. And then if you build that over a period of time, you get to a point where you can get sponsors for your program, even if it is. I attended an African-based. It's meant for CEOs all over the world, but it's an African-based conference, webinar, and they've been hosting it like every Wednesday the last 2 weeks now. This last Wednesday was the 3rd week. Next week Wednesday will be, I'm sure, yeah, I think next week Wednesday will be the last or second to the last. And one of the things that I noticed in that webinar they've been hosting is also on Zoom. Over 10,000 people registered for that event. 10,000 people. And majority were from Nigeria, Europe, America, South Africa, different countries around the world. The point I'm trying to make is to cover that cost. I attended it free of charge, but some people paid for its sponsors. General Electric was part of the people who sponsored. Standard Bank Group was part of the people who sponsored. So these are the things. So if you use your free event to build, if you use your free impact-based program to build followership, there are people who will be willing to come and to sponsor such programs, and in that process you make money. And then beyond that, also when people see that you are offering value, then they start inviting you, then you charge. Another thing you need to understand, I learned this from my mentor, which is where there is a voice, there is an invoice, right? Counseling is free, but consultancy attracts a fee. By the grace of God, I have coaches in my life. I have coaches, different consultants who work for our various organizations. We have like 7 different consultants that work with our company. I have 3 different coaches that work directly with me. And I'm not paying them so small. And the reason is this: one small shift in your thinking by some of the things they will say can lead to a mega shift in your business, can lead to a mega shift in your finances. So a lot of times when people are not engaging people, I mean, you are not paying for those things. And it is when people pay, they also pay attention. So much of the things you are not paying for is not adding as much value to you because you are not really paid. Getting it for free will not add as much value to you. How will you pay $10,000 for a coaching service, for example, and you will not use what they tell you to do? But it is when you get it free that you will not do it, and you say it does,
that's true.
and that's when you say it does not. That's when you say it doesn't work. Are you with me at all? Now our company, now we've migrated many of our things. So we host our partners meeting. So people who do business with us, right? In our business, we have people who work, who buy from us. We have people who sell with us, and the people who sell with us most of the time too have bought things from us. So it's more or less like a referral system. So the people who buy from us, a lot of them, in the process of working with us, in the process of selling with us, we've noticed that the best way to manage these people is to migrate all our services online. So all our training program is on our portal. So anybody who is already registered, wherever they may be all over the world, imagine that this lockdown season, I'll be thinking, how will I do training for people? And there are different platforms. So we now have a private Facebook group. Now, those platforms are free, right? But it's generating income the other way. So I wish I had the time to look at the revenue model for different people, so that if you are a consultant, for example, there's a revenue stream that I can explore, at least 7 revenue streams. in your speaking engagement, in your consulting, in your coaching. I can give you seven revenue model. There's no reason why you should be broke. Are you getting what I'm talking about? That is one. So that answers the issue of impact and income, but impact must go first, must be prioritized, because there are people who, you won't believe this. I signed up for a conference, an online webinar, an hour before your program. And as soon as I signed up, it was all junks. I had to opt out immediately. I just felt like, what is it? This is a complete waste of my time. So you do not want people to regret that they paid money eventually to attend your program. You don't want people to regret that. So give them a foretaste of what they will be missing if they don't pass around that. On how do you find collaboration?
Collaboration, yes.
Okay, so I think the easiest way to find collaboration is there's a concept called barter, right? So what are you bringing to the table? And what do you think the person offers that is valuable? And bring that to the table and say, I want us to work together in order to move it. For example, in Nigeria, before the lockdown, you find the Lacasera seller moving around with the Gala seller, because the person who buys Gala may need Lacasera. So by instinct, they know that, okay, by the time somebody buys Gala, he will need a drink to wash it down. So that is collaboration in practice. I don't know if you are getting my point. So that is one thing we must look for: complementary product or services, right? And another thing that's also crucial in this time and age is to understand the dichotomy between consumer and customer. This is very crucial, because more often than not, people don't realize that the consumer may not necessarily be the customer. The customer is the person who has the purchasing power, who makes the buying decision, whereas the consumer is the end user. So I give you an instance. So you are a veterinary doctor and you treat pets, you treat dogs, you treat, cats and the rest of it. But a dog will never subscribe to your product or service. It is the owner of that dog that will subscribe to the service. So understanding that the dog will not buy, but the dog is the end user, will inform who you talk to, where you go to. This is also very, very important. So when you are collaborating, you collaborate. So if I'm a veterinary doctor, I'll be collaborating with people, with landlord association, security companies. I don't know if I get my point, because all the people they work with may have dogs and all of those things. So, and those are the people that need my services. So in terms of collaboration, think of people that will benefit from the value you are bringing to the table, that will also benefit from the value that you too will benefit from the value they are bringing to the table. And then be prepared to do a win-win transaction. This is not the time. Eat alone, you die alone. This is not the time to eat alone. This is the time to be prepared to share profit, to share what you've got. And 50% of something is something. 100% of nothing is nothing. So that is very, very important.
Wow. That's the 50% of something is something. So it's better to have 50% of something than to have 100% of nothing. You understand? And it's better to even have a 5% stake in a moving wagon than to own 100. You understand? So like something I used to tell myself that, look, I have water. I need to look for someone that has bottle so that my water can sell. And even if we look at the process of water, bottled water, somebody is producing the plastic. Somebody is producing the water. The design on the plastic is somebody.
Somebody does it.
Somebody does it. So until we start seeing ourselves like that, we might not even able to go. So like you said, and I love what you said, so I'm just going to repeat it, then you give us the last word, then we round up so that we can establish it. If we are even more than 60 minutes already. People need to, like you said, people need to find what works with them.
Mm.
This is what I'm doing. I need to look for, like you use the example of a veterinary doctor and
Yeah.
dog. A veterinary doctor, your best friend is the landlord.
Yes.
Everyone in that street, you must greet them. You must become their
Absolutely.
friend so that
Yeah.
they can do business with you. You
Yeah.
understand? So it's not a veterinary doctor cannot go and be a friend with the dogs. No,
Yeah.
you need to be a friend with the owner of the dogs so that you can
Yeah.
treat the dog. So whatever
Absolutely.
business you find yourself, whatever idea that is running in your head, you need to look for people that are in line with that thing
Yeah.
so as to sell
Yeah.
yourself. And very,
Yeah.
very important, don't try and run for 80%. Don't try and run for 100%. It's better
Yeah.
if we can have 5% and be having a constant
Yeah.
inflow into your
Yeah.
bank account than to be
Yeah.
looking for 100%. Thank you so much, sir, for
Absolutely.
having.
Thank you.
So I just want you to
Thank
talk
you for
about the
having me.
opportunities at Life Page that people can subscribe, especially people that don't have anything doing. You
Okay.
understand? Which you said something when we are talking about the meeting about the 100 homes and
Yeah.
how I can be, how can people do that? Just
All right. So thank you once again for the opportunity to share, and I hope what we have shared has been beneficial to people. First is that we are an investment holding company. LifePage is an investment holding company. We have devoted interest in real estate and investment. We also do. We are very strong on trainings and seminars. We're very passionate about seeing people create wealth legitimately. We hate seeing people poor. We are primarily in the business of making life. So we play in the real estate sector mainly because it has become it's one major vehicle that assists people in creating wealth, and not only create their wealth but also retain their wealth. Um, so that's one. So there are a number of things that we've done. We've got projects in Nigeria. We're expanding to Africa. When we started out in the business, part of the things we did before we launched out full time was that we looked at should we go into commercial real estate? Should we go into industrial real estate? Should we go into residential estates or farm estates and the rest of them? And one of the things I saw long ago was that I saw that there will come a time where emphasis on brick and mortar as a requirement for running businesses will diminish with time, because technology will now take the place of having to run the business in a brick and mortar space. And most people will be able to run their businesses 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year on their portal, on their website. So the new office now, post-COVID, is now website, is now their social media account, is now Telegram, is now WhatsApp, is now email, and all of that. That's the new. Is now Zoom, is now webinar Jam, and the rest of other platforms. Now, so when we saw that, we said, okay, there will never come a time. So it means that over time, commercial properties will most likely even be converted to residential development with time. And people will be operating their businesses from home, because there will never come a time when people will be sleeping on their website. There will never come a time when people will be sleeping on their portal. So for that reason, our focus over the next 20 years is on housing development. For our information, Nigeria currently has more than 22 housing deficits, 22 million housing deficits. And that is based on the average of six persons per family. So that means if you multiply that 22 million by 6, it gives you an idea of the population that are actually homeless or living below where they're supposed to be living. And Africa as a continent requires an average of 4 million houses every year in order to catch up with the housing deficit. So what we've decided to do as a company is to focus more on Lagos, because another research report showed that Lagos, 500 people visit Lagos every 1 hour. I mean, before pre-COVID, okay? 500 people visit Lagos every 1 hour and never return back. Now, that is an average of, that's an average of 5,000. I beg your pardon. Sorry for this disruption.
Problem.
So that's an average of 5,000 people daily and never return. Now, Lagos has the lowest land mass in Lagos, in Nigeria, I beg your pardon. It has the lowest land mass in Nigeria, and it has the highest population. So the demand for housing is increasing. Nowhere in the world has real estate appreciation like Lagos. So for us, we've decided to focus more in Lagos, and much of our development, so we are doing 100 units of apartments in Bagada area in Lagos, which shares proximity with Island and with the airport. So if you are looking for somewhere that is not far from the airport and not too far from the island, Bagada is an ideal place. Now, we also have another development, another 100 units we're doing on the island in Lekki axis, and it's also another phenomenal development. Now, all the things that I'm talking about, we cannot just wait for the lockdown to be called off. Now, what we have also looked at, because we are now in the sharing economy, disposable income is under siege. So too many things are competing for the resources, and people also want to still invest. They want to save. They want something that will be generating steady income for them and their family without losing their principal. So we came up with what we call the Million Homes, and the Million Homes is going to change the lives of multitudes forever. And I cannot be more excited than this, because it's part of the innovative product we have created, and it's good to go now. We're tidying up a couple of loose ends. The development will start before we even start asking people to join. But one of the things you can do to be a part of what we're doing is, number one, we don't joke with integrity. Personally, as a person, we've been privileged to walk away from billions of naira deals just because it violates our, values. So that's very crucial. And one thing that has helped us to come to the point we have gotten to today is mainly because of integrity. So anybody who wants to join us must hold that very dear. Very, very important, because like I said, money only flows in the direction of value and trust. The more trustworthy you are, the more people will give you money, because even a certified thief is looking for somebody to trust. And one of the decisions we have taken is we have decided to be that trustworthy company. I've decided as a person to be a trustworthy individual, and that's what has helped us over the years. So anyone who wants to join us, you have the opportunity to make money. So we have about 24 estate development projects for landed property. So those who want to buy land and all of those things in different parts and with peace of mind. And then there are different payment plans that we can develop for you to acquire in installment. Because one of the things that's happening right now in this season of global recession is the fact that inflation is setting in. There are countries where the government is giving a buffer to are printing money to support their people all over Europe, all over America. That's happening in Canada. That's also happening. In Nigeria, it's not happening. But because of the crash of the crude oil, there's certainly going to be inflation. There's already inflation. There's already a crisis, economic crisis, mega one. So each countries have to now begin to look inward and begin to produce themselves. But essentially, just so I don't bore you with too much information, to participate, you can belong to our team by registering to be a partner. And a partner means you are a realtor, and then you refer people. You're just participating in our referral system. That way you can make up to 25% commissions on any transactions you do. And then in any case you refer. Now, when I say up to, it depends on how you register. So it's important. Mr. Korede will be able to provide us additional information for that. And then some of the housing development projects that we're rolling out, you also have the opportunity to also participate and make a lot of money in the process. I think I've done enough.
You've done so great. Thank you so much, sir. I think we apologize for taking this to 90 minutes. You know, it's important that when you talk about things like this, you need to talk about it very well so that people can understand. The purpose of this platform is for me and you to be able to see opportunities. So we are not just doing this as a ritual. So it is at the end of everything, what have you been able to learn? What have you been able to grow? And the opportunities that is open for you in there. So that young man, I know so many people are hanging with their friends' phones and everywhere. That young man that asked that question that I'm not making money, this is an opportunity for you. You can speak to me after, then I can give you guidelines on how to, with referral alone, you are making income. So you can be in UAE and your Nigerian bank account is popping money. You can be in Ibadan.
Mr. Korede,
sir.
You know, I mentioned to you, and I think I said that earlier on, that one of our partners earned 25 million naira just this season.
This season.
Just a couple of days ago. It's not a, of course, I will not publish and I will not mention the person's name for if it was anybody here, so I won't mention their name. So these things work. It generates serious income for people.
It works.
So it's one of the fastest way by which you can create wealth here.
So reach out to us, reach out to me, and then let's grow together. Let's grow intellectually, let's grow finances, and let's become great together. All right, thank you so very much, sir, for
thank you for having me.
Your time.
Thank you.
Everything you said has been fantastic. Because of time, I won't.
Thank you.
You've opened our eyes to what collaboration is, what family financing, and the opportunities we need to grow. Someone make 25 million naira in this time.
Yes, sir.
It is possible to get financial power. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone that joined us in Growth from Within today. You can see you can grow from behind. It's not you understand. So everyone that joined on Facebook, everyone that joined on YouTube, everyone that joined on Zoom, thank you so much. This is going to be put on YouTube. You understand? We are still going to have more engagement. So I'm sure more questions and more interactions will come. Then I can forward it to you so that you can answer.
Not a problem.
So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I'll be seeing you again next week. I mean, it's going to be another fantastic time next week. Do have a wonderful evening. Thank you sorry for taking 30 minutes of your time. Do enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.
Yeah.